Shalom. First and foremost, I want to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahawah, Bahasham, Yahawashi, Bahasham, Rukakadash. Double honors to the elders and apostles of Great Millstone who rule well and who taught me this truth. Peace and salutations to the hopeful elect of Israel. And as always, I want to say that all praises, honor, and glory is definitely due to Yahawah, Bahasham, Yahawashi, especially in these times as we see the Lord is making good on his words. The prophecies are coming to pass, and they're moving pretty quickly. Like the elder apostle Tahar always say, you miss a day, you miss a lot. Heck, you miss an hour, you miss a lot. Because there's always something going on. And so, hell, we even find it hard to keep up sometimes, but through Spirit and power of Yahweh, Ba'asham, Yahawashi, the epistles are continuously going up, But I want to speak on this video here because, the Lord did say that he would have war with Amalek from generation to generation. And we're seeing the beginning stages of that final showdown between Yahawah, Ba'asham, Yahawashi, and Amalek, as well as these Edomites. Even these heathen nations too, but mainly Esau, Edom, and Amalek being the head of that, which is your tiny tops over there in that land, claiming to be the true men of the Lord when they really aren't, claim to be the true people of the Lord. And so, right now the question is, where is B.B. Milkowski? For some reason, he it's like he's just missing, And there is speculation that he's been taken back to the spirit world, And honestly, whether he's still here or in the spirit world, either way, these people are losing miserably, okay? Because Yahawah, Ba'asham, Yahawashi is making good on this word. Now, I want to play a little bit of this video from the brother in Vegas. He says, channel GMS Vegas 144 Reloaded. Do subscribe and be edified. But let me get the scripture just to start this off in Exodus chapter 17. I believe it's verse 16. Yeah, it says, for he said, because Yahawah had sworn that the Lord would have war with Amalek from generation to generation. Okay, Yahawah swore to have war with these tiny tops, with Amalek from generation to generation. And as I mentioned earlier, you're seeing the beginning stages of that final showdown. Okay, and like I said, this man is losing horribly. Okay, so I'm going to get to a little bit of this video, get some more scriptures, and we're going to close it out.
They're going to eventually scope him out and erase his entire existence. And if this doesn't show you that these people are the descendants of Cain, I don't know what would convince you. All right, this man, he for decades, he pushed a lot of war propaganda, atrocity propaganda to justify war with these people that they're now in the biggest war of their existence with. And they're realizing that they've been on more that they can chew, thinking that, the big bad USA, Babylon, the daughter of Babylon, even they can't protect you. So people are wondering, where the hell is this devil at? You spark this conflict, and it results in mass casualties on both sides. The world economy is depleting. It's imploding, and he's nowhere to be found. So this is where it's gonna get very interesting, to say the least, because they're in a lose-lose situation. They're hoping that this war escalates even further, which it is going to escalate, because it's going to draw these nations all into this final world's war. This is all designed by the Heavenly Father. But they're hoping that they can come out of this war victorious, just like the last World War, and that they can actually take their position in rulership to rule the entire world, to have more control over all lands and territories and trade routes and resources, and of course to control the people, put everybody in a digital servitude. So,
and that's just, I gotta speak on that. That's just the pride of these devils, man. Is that, I mean, if you go back to Genesis, I think it's chapter 27, and when Esau was given his blessing, so many words he was told it would be a temporary blessing. He knew that eventually, his blessing would run out and he would have to serve his brother Jacob. But like the scriptures say, their innermost thought is that the houses will stand forever. This man believes so much in his blessing, his sword, that he thinks that he's accumulated enough technology and firepower to where he can defend himself against the Most High, Yahawah, Yahawashi, and prolong his blessing and make his blessing a permanent blessing instead of a temporary blessing. But that's the pride. I think that's in the book of Obadiah. Real quick. Yes, it says, verse 3, it says, the pride of thine heart hath deceived thee, thou that dwellest in the clefts of the rocks, whose habitation is high, that saith in his heart, who shall bring me down to the ground? Though thou exalt thyself as the eagle, and though thou set thy nest amongst the stars, thence will I bring thee down, saith the Lord. Okay, so he can, go into space, set up satellites, set up a space force, and think in his heart that nobody can bring him down, but the Lord is letting him know, I'm gonna bring you down. Okay, and like I said, we're seeing the beginning, the stages of the Lord actually making good on that word. Okay, so I mean, like I said, this devil is losing miserably, and it's very beautiful times for us. But I want to let the brother speak a little bit more.
If this dude is dead, then this is what I would say part of the Lord's disappointment, to their enterprise. Like it tells you in Job, the 5th chapter, he disappointed the devices of the crafty, that their hands cannot perform their enterprise, because this man, he's been very instrumental in a lot of the moves being made by this administration, because he's one of the faces of the Zionists who are operating under the globalist elite. All right, and now this guy is actually nowhere to be found. So where's this administration? Who are they going to take their pecking orders from? You made your
And I think the brother mentions it in the video that normally he's giving some kind of press conference or some kind of council, and he's speaking, his arrogance and his pride, and quoting Bible scriptures on how they're being victorious and how they can't be stopped, and now he's nowhere to be found. He just vanished in the thin air. You know what I'm saying? Where's all that hot shit you was talking, man? I just had to point that out.
selves underlings to a fool, a crash out. As a matter of fact, let me get that. And this is what they're not trying to admit in the mainstream media, that things have actually went terribly wrong. This is Sirach 4. Yeah, Sirach 4 and 27 says, "Make not thyself an underling to a foolish man." All right, a straight, rash, unruly crash out. Somebody that's desperate, impulsive. It says, "Neither accept the person of the mighty." All right. So the question is, where is he? Because now you got the citizens over there. They're confronting the government. They're rallying in front of these the government buildings, wondering what happened to the leadership. Where's the prime minister? Y'all leaving us unattended. Where you're leaving us unprotected. The people, we don't have any shelter. We don't have nowhere to flee to.
And that's what these devils do anytime it's a war or something like that there, and that's why they build these bunkers and stuff. And they call them doomsday bunkers because they know the day of the Lord is near. And they preparing for it to keep themselves housed and protected. But while normal citizens, and this is everywhere, normal citizens are like sitting ducks, and we're just lambs to the slaughter. You know what I'm saying? But that's the selfishness, the hypocrisy of these so-called leaders, especially Esau, man.
So they're coming against their government, and that goes to show you right there that they're divided. All right, this is Satan casting out Satan, man. If Satan be divided, how can his house stand? So anyway, let's look at this.
Where is Netanyahu? Is Israel's prime minister alive, or has he been eliminated? Explosive rumors are spreading online, claiming that Iranian missiles may have assassinated Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu. This followed Netanyahu's noticeable absence from a latest Israeli military council meeting. The meeting...
Usually he's there. Usually. And also, this devil, every time they carry out a hit, a strike, or an operation, like what happened going back to October 7th, he's usually right there. He's usually, making some type of press release, making a declaration, a speech, announcing, what they did and how unstoppable they are, and, making threats. And, he's usually the one right there. He'd be the first one you see in the cameras, making headlines. So why? What happened now? See, in the beginning of this whole thing, them little hats, they were jumping for joy. They celebrated early. Before it got crazy, there were videos of small hats. They were celebrating. Some of them they might have been in some underground shelters, but they was down there partying. Like they just knew that they were going to be victorious. We finna take down another regime. But now look, you're witnessing the fall of a haughty people, man. Before destruction, the heart of man is haughty. So people are starting to acknowledge what's happening, man, and they're being taunted, they're being humiliated and taunted.
And just to make a point on what he just said, they celebrated early. They thought they was gonna have the victory. They thought it was gonna be a couple of days. They was gonna bomb the heck out of Iran. America's gonna bomb the heck out of Iran, and Iran is just gonna fall. They're gonna fold. You know what I'm saying? But see, that's that pride. You know what I'm saying? But right quick, in the book of Job, chapter 20. And I think it's 22. Yeah, Job 20 and 22, it says, in the fullness of his sufficiency he shall be in straits, and every hand of the wicked shall come upon him. Okay? And that's you seeing that there. Now he's in straits, and now the whole doggone country over there is trying to figure out what's gonna happen. You know what I'm saying? What's next? Where is he? I'm sure they ain't reporting much about it, but in the States, that same question is coming out. You know what I'm saying? There a lot of people are wondering that in their minds. You know what I mean? But the Lord has this man in straits. You know what I'm saying? And at that point, I'm speaking of Esau, Edom, period. This whole nation is there in the straits. You know what I'm saying? And this particular one being taken out, if that's what actually happened, you know what I'm saying, that's the Lord making a chess move, basically, like saying, hey, you know who I am. You know what I'm saying? You know who I am. You know what I'm saying? The Lord is showcasing his power. Don't play with me. Lord, Yahawah, sham, Yahawashi saying that. You know what I'm saying? And the Lord is proving his word to be faithful and true here, man. I'm going to let the brother speak a little bit more, get a couple of more scriptures, and I'm going to end it right there. But ultimately, you see what's going on. You know what I'm saying?
Because you started all this, and now you can't finish it. All right, now it's getting pretty dire. You're in a quagmire. And you done drag Babylon into it? Yeah, because the Lord used this devil. He used this devil to draw him out. And now there's no return.
Mm-hmm.
All right?
I'm going to get that one in the book of Jeremiah chapter 50, since he mentioned it. Okay. Jeremiah chapter 50. Let me see. I think it's down at the end. Yeah. It says, Jeremiah 50 and 45, it says, therefore hear ye the counsel of Yahawah, Ba'ashem Yahawashi, that he had taken against Babylon and his purposes. Now this is speaking of Babylon, speaking of America. And ultimately Esau, Edom, it says that he had proposed against the land of the Chaldeans. Okay, so this talk about all you Edomites. Surely the least of the flock shall draw them out. And the least of the flock is speaking of Amalek. Them tiny tops, them tiny hats, okay? Who we're talking about now. Okay, it says, surely he shall make their habitation desolate with them. Okay? And that's what the Lord is getting ready to do. This place is going to be a desolate wilderness. That land over there is going to be destroyed, but it'll be rebuilt, for our sake. You know what I mean? But you see, the least of the flock is drawing them out. They done already drew America, Babylon into this war. You know what I'm saying? And so now, Nero 47, Nero Trump done bit off more than he can chew. You know what I'm saying? Under this man's, guidance, leadership, whatever you want to call it, following after this man. And now he ain't nowhere to be found. He's either hiding out or he's already been taken out. one or the other. But we see the Lord has spoken, and the Lord is now performing, man, and it's very beautiful times.
The battles in the ancient world, they were fought with with garments rolled in blood and confused noise and shields and swords. But this shall be with burning and fuel of fire, man. This is what you gotten yourselves into. But anyway, let's keep watching.
Took place in Tel Aviv on March 14 and was attended by Defense Minister Israel Katz, IDF Chief of Staff Eyal Zamir, and other security officials. But Netanyahu was nowhere to be seen. It is highly unusual that the Israeli Prime Minister didn't attend the high-profile meeting. The last time Netanyahu appeared before the media was on March 12, and since then he has been away from the public eye. But in this very address, some social media users claimed they spotted what appeared to be 6 fingers on Netanyahu's right hand when he briefly raised it during the address. The speculation spread further after U.S. conservative commentator Candace Owens raised questions on X. "Where's Bibi?" she wrote. "Why is his office releasing and deleting fake AI videos of him?"
See, they catching on, man. You can't fool people that got common sense. You know? Yeah, it's not going too well. You know, but they're doing their best to suppress, what's really happening. Okay? Because according to them, they can tell the Goyim any damn thing. But the truth is out. We're in the information age, man. Everything that's done is going to be eventually brought to light. All right, there should not be nothing hidden that should not be made manifest.
And why is there mass panic at the White House? Meanwhile, the Israeli Prime Minister's office dismissed.
And this is why the scriptures tell you. Let's go to Proverbs real quick. When you go into war, let's go to, Proverbs 24? Yeah, Proverbs 24 and 6, it says, "For by wise counsel thou shalt make thy war, and in multitude of counselors there is safety." Let's go to Ecclesiastes 8.
And in hearing that wasn't wise counsel to attack Iran like that. None of that was wise. That wasn't a wise decision for, But see, the Lord is forcing this man's hand. The Lord is forcing their hand, and he put the spirit on these tiny tops, to draw America into it, okay? And ultimately, all these other nations are going to be drawn into it. You know what I mean? Because ultimately, the Lord has a beef with all the heathen, and this is, all the heathen have had a hand in our captivity. But this whole mess, Amalek, is the beginning of it. You know what I'm saying? Amalek is because he's the head of Esau, of Edom. You know what I mean? So let me get that in the book of Numbers right quick, and I'm gonna let this brother continue. And I'm gonna get another scripture and close it out. I think the point was pretty much made, but let me get Numbers chapter 24. I think it's 20. Yes, it says, "And when he looked on Amalek, he took up his parable and said, Amalek was the first of the nations, but his latter end shall be that he perish forever." And like I said, you're seeing the beginning stages of this final showdown between Amalek, and the Most High, And like I said, Amalek is losing miserably, and ultimately his beef is with all the nations and all of Edom, as we read in previous scriptures. But, and we'll get a little bit more on it, but Amalek is that chief of the nation of Edom. That's why it says the first of the nations, okay? But his latter end shall be that he perish forever, okay? So, again, very beautiful times. And call halal Yahawah sham Yahawashi, man.
In verse 6, hold up. Let's go to the AMP. Yeah, Ecclesiastes 8 and 6 says, "For there is a proper time and appropriate procedure for every delight, though mankind's misery and trouble lies heavily upon him who rebels against the king." All right. So there's a proper time and appropriate procedures for everything, especially when you counsel right. These devils, who's counseling them? Because that's the Lord is diminishing the prudence of Teman. They're wise men, the wise men of Edom. Because they're moving on the clock, they're desperate. And that's why, like it says in Revelation 12 and 12, the devil has come down having great wrath, knowing that he had but a short time. Okay? So things are moving wrong, but the elites are still hoping that they can build from all of this. They want to still try to fill their belly. Because as far as this current global economic infrastructure, it is being depleted by this war. So that's actually working out, and they like, well, shit, I think we got something. It's actually going according to plan, but really, it's only going according to the plan of the Heavenly Father, because you're going to bring out the MOTB. That's only fulfilling that prophecy.
And okay? I should have read that in Job chapter 20. Let me go back to that right quick. It's like it's just the spirit. Job chapter 20. And so I read in verse 22, "In the fullness of his sufficiency he shall be in straits. Every hand of the wicked shall come upon him. When he is about to fill his belly," which is meaning when he is about to actually bring in this NWO, which is his main goal, you know what I'm saying, and set up a basically a digital servitude, on earth, I mean, just when he's about to actually get it going, he think he's good to go. It says, "God shall cast his fury, the fury of his wrath upon him, and shall rain upon him while he is eating." So this man has no win. He has no win in this situation whatsoever. His plans have been ruined, and he's gonna continue with them. But the Lord is gonna continue, to ruin it. You know what I'm saying? But he's basically got him in the heart of Pharaoh, where he's gonna keep trying, and he's gonna keep hardening his heart. But and the Lord is only gonna do that to continue to showcase His power. You know what I'm saying? The king of terrors, baby, Alashaja. You know what I'm saying?
So you're gonna bring in your MOTB system ultimately, but it's not gonna quell this war. This war is gonna continue. Okay, the prices of things is going up. People are suffering at the gas pump, at the grocery store. The cost of living, everything is gonna continue to go up. So the people are not gonna be happy. That's Proverbs 29 and 2. When the righteous are on authority, the people rejoice. But when the wicked bear rule, the people mourn. Look at the little hats over there. This is what's going on over there right now. And that's over in Tel Aviv. All right, they upset. They're angry. Where the hell is our prime minister at? Why are we being left unattended? Which with this nonchalant attitude, So it's looking bad, man. But we're watching the fall of our enemies. and it's a beautiful sight to see. All right, but let's go back to the video.
Social media claims saying Netanyahu is fine. A correspondent from the Anadolu agency asked the office if they had a statement on the increasing claims on social media that Netanyahu has been assassinated. These are fake news. The Prime Minister is fine, the office replied. The online rumors emerged.
So if he's fine, where the hell is he? If he's alive, he's the biggest coward of them all. You wanted all this smoke.
But yeah, you can check out this video. You see the title of it, right there. Ultimately the Lord is bringing judgment. Let him go a few more minutes.
Pushing for it, heavy. But then when it gets thick, you know where to be found. You run off, hiding your little rat hole wherever they got you sheltered at, while leaving.
That's what they always do. So let me get Ezekiel chapter 36 and 5, and I'm gonna go ahead and close it out. I'll play a few more minutes after this, and that'll be it. But Ezekiel chapter 36 and 5, it says, "Therefore thus said the Lord God, surely in the fire of my jealousy have I spoken against the residue of the heathen, and against all Idumea," okay, which is you Edomites, it says, "which have appointed my land into their possession with the joy of all their heart, with despiteful minds to cast it out for a prey." And now this point, there's Amalek, that's the head tribe of Edom, that's over there, appointed their lands, his land in their possession, claiming to be us. It says, so verse 6 says, "Prophesy therefore concerning the land of Israel, and say unto the mountains, and to the hills, to the rivers, and to the valleys, thus said Yahawah power, behold, I have spoken in my jealousy and my fury, because ye have borne the shame of the heathen. Therefore, thus said Yahawah power, I have lifted up mine hand. Surely the heathen that are about you, they shall bear thy shame." Okay, and so it's not gonna just be them. We ain't on nobody's side with this. The Lord is finna take care of all these heathen. That's why He's gathered them all over right now in the so-called Middle East. He's using this situation to gather them all to the Middle East. That's the valley of Yahawashi. You know what I'm saying? It says, verse 8, it says, "But ye, O mountains of Israel, ye shall shoot forth your branches, and yield your fruit to my people of Israel, for they are at hand to come." And this is the Lord letting you know that, hey, He's getting ready to bring His people to now. He's getting ready to set the true Israelites back in their homeland, which He gave them, which He gave us, man. That these people falsely claim to be their land. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, I'm going to end it right there. I'm going to let some more of the video play. But I'm going to end it right there, giving all praises to Yahawah, Sham, Yahawashi. Again, like I said, this final showdown, and Amalek, Esau, is losing miserably. You know what I'm saying? And call the Lord Yahawah, Sham, Yahawashi for that. With that, I hope you brothers and sisters were edified. And yeah, shalom.
And all your people sitting ducks. That is no honor, man. That's come on, man. That's very shameful. But they're revealing themselves, man. Cain moved the same way. All right, you murder your brother, and then after you murder your brother, you're gonna lie to the Most High, just like you would lie to the world, and say, "I don't know where he's at. Am I my brother's keeper?" And the Lord say, Well, his brother, the blood of your brother cried out to me. So that's how the Lord knew this motherfucker was being a demon. And he said, and because of what you did, I'm gonna put a mark on your ass. You know. And what did Cain do when the Lord put that mark on him, which was a distinguishing mark? You know, he ultimately marked him with leprosy. All right, but what did Cain come to the conclusion of when he was given that particular mark? This is Genesis 4 and verse 11, and it says, "And now art thou cursed from the earth, which have opened her mouth to receive thy brother's blood from thy hand. When thou tillest the ground, it shall not henceforth yield unto thee her strength." Meaning the earth is going to be cursed, and it's under a curse right now. That's why, you know, the food quality suck. All right, you used to be able to have to carry a cluster of grapes. You know, 2 men have to carry a cluster. You know, so everything is not at its.
Yeah, that's it, man. Hell with these devils, man. And call the Lord Yahawashi, Yahawashi. May the Yahawashi, Yahawashi continue to show forth his wrath and bring judgment upon these Edomites, Amalek mainly, and all these heathen, man. We ready to go home. You know what I'm saying? So again, call the Lord Yahawashi, Yahawashi, Shalom.